Right now, the National Weather Desk, here comes the cold, where it's going to start feeling more like December and how low it will go.
Holy moly, I think I found a sunken ship.
The drought leads to an unexpected find in the Mississippi River, but more concerning is what those low water levels are doing to critical shipping.
Before we opened, this was beautifully lush and green. Look at it now.
The drought is also taking a toll on some popular fall destinations. Not enough rain and too much heat.
The Arctic is warming up, and so is the Antarctic.
You'll see how a wall of wind is helping engineers build homes that can stand up to hurricanes. And did you know? Not all raindrops are the same size. What happens when they become too big next?
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Well, good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Veronica Johnson. There are noticeable weather changes in many cities this morning as a cold front pushes across the nation. Check out Marquette County, Wisconsin this morning, where lake effect snow is falling there. Temperatures are below freezing. And it's also pretty windy there. Wind gusts to 45 miles an hour, but it's not just the northern cities feeling the cold. That front is bringing freezing conditions to many cities in the southern U.S. Nearly half of the nation is currently under a freeze watch or freeze warning for some of the overnight temperatures that are coming. It's the coldest air in months for many, and near record low temperatures are expected for the date. Now, as we look at the high temperatures for the day, you can really start to see the cold sinking all the way through some of the Midwestern cities. Chicago, for instance, may not hit 50 degrees there this afternoon. And unseasonably cold conditions expected by the time we get to Wednesday morning. Get ready to bundle up in areas like Oklahoma City, Memphis, Tennessee, even Atlanta, Georgia will hover with temperatures in the 30s. First time for some of these locations to be turning the heat on, and first time that they may have to scrape their car windshields. Well, drought is also in the headlines this morning. Sections of once the mighty Mississippi River are approaching low water levels not seen in decades. That's a big deal because the river is now so shallow in many sections that barges simply can't move. So traffic in those sections has come to a standstill. 90% of the U.S. agricultural exports are produced in the Mississippi River Basin. And unless those barges start moving soon, prices for those products will start soaring. Those low water levels are also revealing mysteries that haven't been underwater for years. They haven't been seen there. In Louisiana, a man found what's left of a wooden boat that was built in 1896, and it sank 19 years later.
This past Sunday, I was out here looking and realized that the rest of the shore had washed away and there was an entire ship there.
The boat was used to ferry people from one side of the Mississippi River to the other. It sank in a storm. Archaeologists knew where it was, but the river was always too high to see most of it. They hope to find that find will help them learn more about wooden boat making in that era. And it seems like things are getting warmer in Texas. They've been dealing with drought in one city. One of our meteorologists is noting that recent warmth has set records. Let's go now to San Antonio, Texas, where meteorologist Alex Garcia explains warming in this city and beyond.
We've been watching over the last several months of temperatures trending above the normal every month of the year, and September is no different. September is the 5th warmest right here in San Antonio, going all the way back to 1880. And if you go back further, it's the 46th September in a row with warmer than average temperatures out across the region. Now, we're not the only place that's warming up. The Arctic is warming up, and so is the Antarctic, and we can see the changes in the sea ice going on during the month of September. And if we look at the whole year, 2022, there's a greater than 99% chance that this year will rank among the top 10 warmest years on record. And that's climate by the numbers.
It's that time of the year. Fall means pumpkin patches and corn mazes are open for business. In Texas, some farms are adapting to the weather with amazing ways of dealing with the drought. Let's go now to Austin, where meteorologist Chicago Windler explains.
It's corn. I can tell you all about it. I mean, look at this thing. It's a Texas-sized corn maze.
The object of the game is to go into Texas and find these 14 Texas towns.
Uniquely Texas, these 4 acres at Sweetberry Farm in Marble Falls are nothing short of amazing.
find all this stuff. Yeah, and getting lost.
Good luck.
Farmer Dan Copeland has learned a lot in 22 years here.
We won't farm anything that we cannot irrigate. Texas is just too unpredictable.
And 38 days without a drop of rain are taking a toll.
Before we opened, this was beautifully lush and green. Look at it now. I mean, it is thirsty. So when we're growing this, we put out sprinklers to sprinkle this and to keep it nice and green. But we pull those out whenever we open because I don't want people to trip over the cords.
Fun fact, this corn maze isn't actually made of corn. Instead, it's something called sorghum.
It's not real corn, no. It's sorghum Sudan. It's a special grass that grows and grows and grows.
It's a drought-resistant hay grass that grows taller, lasts longer, and needs less water than corn.
It looks a little bit like corn, but no, you won't find any corn on the cob here.
What you will find are visitors who don't care what the maze is made of. They just want to find all the obscure Texas towns.
We've got Fluvanna, Nordheim, Mobeetie, Flomont, Blewett. I'm sure you know where all of these are.
We're on our last one and we're at 30 minutes.
Hey, good for you guys. Hey. We found Knickerbocker, population of 8.
4 acres, 14 towns, and a Lone Star state of mind. I hope you have a corn-tastic, or should I say sorghum-tastic day.
So much fun. Have you ever heard a meteorologist use the term overrunning? We usually refer to this term when talking about a warm front and the process that occurs with it. Let's go now to Syracuse, New York, where meteorologist Violet Skyber explains.
So first, let's set up our warm front. It's advancing towards some colder air ahead of it, and as this warmer air hits this cold air already in place, it gets shoved above it. The reason being is because warmer air wants to rise, cooler air wants to sink. So as this warmer air is forced overwards, over the colder air, it forms precipitation and clouds, and eventually that precipitation falls to the ground. That's why we usually see rain ahead of a warm front that's moving towards us. And eventually, as that warmer air keeps getting shoved further up, it cools off entirely and completely dries out as well. And we stop seeing precipitation or any clouds the further ahead of that warm front that you go. So usually with overrunning, here's the typical conditions that we see. Cooler temperatures, steady light rain. This is all ahead of the warm front. Thick, low clouds, even fog or mist. And in the winter, obviously with some cooler temperatures, this cold air becomes much colder that this warm front is hitting. And we can actually see things like freezing rain, sleet, and snow forming on the front edge of this warm front because of how cold that air can get.
So here's something fun to think about. How much snow would an equivalent amount of rain mean? For example, if it rained 1 inch, would the automatic equivalent then be 10 inches of snowfall? As some calculations say, recent rainfall got meteorologist Anthony McCarry thinking about it. He says that 10-to-1 math isn't all that simple. Let's go to Providence, Rhode Island now, where he has more.
Now that we're only in the fall, it's fun to think about. We have had a lot of rain here in the last month or two, and how would that translate in terms of rainfall? It really depends on the season and how much moisture we can hold in the air. So as you mentioned, the typical ratio is 10-to-1. So 1 inch of liquid rain equals about 10 inches of snow. So with 3 inches of rain, that would translate to 30 inches of snow. The blizzard of 78 on record in the Providence area wasn't even that much officially. So how come we don't see that much type of snowfall during the winter months? The catch really is that cold air cannot hold as much moisture as warmer air. So there's different ratios during the winter months as well. Dry snow that just flakes away, 15-to-1, wet, heavier snow, 5-to-1. So these ratios vary even throughout snowstorms. And a good example here, the blizzard of 2015. It had less than an inch of liquid equivalent, yet produced 16 inches of snowfall. So it would take a very large amount of moisture to produce the types of snowfall that, in theory, we would expect this time of the year, and yet it's really just not possible due to so much cold air during the winter months.
And coming up on the National Weather Desk, for many parts of the country, the cooler weather means hiking season, but there are some dangers to be aware of. We'll tell you how to stay safe when you're on the trail. And we head to Florida to see how one university is helping communities become more resilient to intense storms.
Hi, everyone. I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. After a nice-looking weekend, we are, of course, tracking some more clouds and showers moving in today. This is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Notice some showers in the Northeast, and there will be some areas of drizzle. The temps will leave a lot to be desired, with temps running in the 50s and 60s. We'll get into another round of wet weather tonight and into the morning, especially in New England. But as we go through the afternoon on Tuesday, notice developing sun. Temperatures look seasonably cool, with highs struggling to get out of the 50s.
I'm meteorologist Jonathan Myers, and here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. Our latest weather maker giving us a risk of some showers, especially as you head down towards the Tidewater of Virginia, up towards the Delmarva and New Jersey, especially during the first half of the day with some clearing during the second half of the day. This is going to be a cold front, but really the cold air not here just yet. It looks like temperatures still going to be in the 60s to right around 70 degrees, but look at that chill on the other side of the mountains. That here for Tuesday and beyond. That's the scene here.
I'm meteorologist Vitas Reed. It looks like we're going to see those temperatures a little bit all over the place as we go through the day. Much cooler air. Look at Nashville, 59 for the high compared to Raleigh at 78, 81 in Macon, 84 Pensacola to 67 in Tupelo. So you can see there's a secondary cold front that's going to be pushing through the southeast, clearing the skies out, but it'll probably also bring a much cooler air. A few spotty showers and some clouds associated with that front, but definitely it'll push through and drop down temperatures over the next few days.
We begin in Albany, New York, with a great shot of the downtown area. Now let's check to see the weather in cities across the country today. We begin in Albany, New York, with a great shot here of the downtown area, but a steady rain this morning that's likely to continue into the afternoon. Albany, New York will have a high temperature of 60 degrees. And next, we'll go to the north and west. Flint, Michigan. Oh, it's overcast there. Scattered showers this morning with a steady rain there also into the afternoon, but quite chilly. Afternoon temperature just 43 degrees, and not much better over in Fairfield, Iowa. It's a pretty view, though, of the Jefferson County Courthouse. They'll have a chill for the afternoon, that high temperature of 44 degrees under sunshine. And finally, we're off to Green Bay, Wisconsin, where snow and rain this morning in Green Bay. Well, it's going to stay cloudy through the day, and it's going to turn windy. A high temperature of 45. Oh, you bet it's going to feel a lot colder. Well, Florida International University is home to the Wall of Wind. It's a research facility that tests the impacts of hurricane winds on building structures. With a recent grant from the National Science Foundation, this Extreme Events Institute is able to expand their research beyond just wind. Emily Gracie recently spoke with the director about how they replicate hurricane conditions.
We're really proud of the Wall of Wind, and it's the only university-based facility that can go up to Category 5 wind speeds. And we have a turntable inside the facility because it isn't just a simple straight-ahead flow of wind. There's turbulence, there's eddies, and then with the turntable, we can rotate buildings or experiments so that the wind hits what we're aiming at different angles.
Is the goal here to look at potential future wind speeds of hurricanes as hurricanes are continuing to get more intense?
Let me reference Hurricane Dorian in 2019. It had sustained wind speeds over the Bahamas of 185 miles per hour. Dorian was the hurricane we should have learned from.
The National Science Foundation is investing a lot of money in you guys. What are you doing there that they're so interested in that's going to make such a difference?
It's a design and prototype or project test bed to determine the optimal design and feasibility of an integrated facility that will do extreme winds, storm surge, and wave action, and the effects that interaction affect, or the impacts of that interaction on homes, businesses, infrastructure. We have so many exposures on our coasts, and we have to look at the integrated effects of hurricanes. And right now we tend to study them, wind here, surge there. It doesn't capture the full holistic impacts of a hurricane.
Dr. Olson and his team are hoping this new research will provide the tools to make communities more resilient and more intense to those storms coming in the future. Well, as temperatures cool down across the country, more people are getting outside for things like hiking and camping. But there's a lot of critters that are coming out, too, to enjoy those cool temperatures. And snakes are a big one. Let's head to Las Vegas, where Ophelia Young has more.
Calm, sunny, and 80s.
It was good. Really good. Yeah. Weather's out real quick.
Weather's perfect to take a hike, but they weren't the only ones who thought so.
Definitely. Yeah. We literally said that as we got here, like, wow, there's a lot more little critters out today than there usually are. So I definitely noticed it.
Ayana and Triana didn't see any slithering wildlife today, but
I definitely heard something that like resembled the sound of what a snake would be making. Yeah. If it was a rattlesnake, for sure.
Though not all snakes rattle, most bite.
Start with wearing a good pair of shoes. Even some that are a little higher than ankle height would be good. I also don't recommend wearing shorts.
Advice to be taken seriously, especially after a wet monsoon season.
When we have a monsoon like that, yes, some of the critters that live in burrows are gonna have to get out of there because of water.
But even before the rain, milder fall climate patterns have led to later hibernation for critters, including snakes.
As long as our temperature stays comfortable and mild, you're going to have the chance of seeing a snake. And of course, the more people that are in the valley, the more active we are, and the more we seek these developed trail systems that are available to us nowadays, the more encounters we're going to have.
There are about 50 reptile species in southern Nevada. Only 6 snakes are venomous, including this Mojave green rattler.
They have a very defined diamond shape to the head, a triangular shape, and their neck is very small compared to the rest of their body.
So watch out for this little guy as you, your children, and your pets enjoy the great outdoors and great weather. And if the worst happens...
Today, most of us are carrying a smartphone. Take a picture of the snake, don't try to kill it. Take a picture of the snake because you're going to need that to identify it to the doctor. That way the doctor knows what type of antivenom to give.
And there's a ton of great weather content our meteorologists post on their social media accounts, and we've got a ton on our accounts too. Head over to Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter and search the National Weather Desk. You can see interviews and other content that didn't make the show. Let's take a look now at what meteorologist Josh Knight posted recently.
Water is a pretty wild liquid with one of the strongest surface tensions of all liquids. It's that surface tension that allows us to do something like this. The flower petals don't fall through the water when we dump them in, and as we toss it into the air, the water still holds together, ultimately until it spreads out and thins out too much and begins to break apart. The same idea can be applied to raindrops and the size that they can ultimately become. Small raindrops are nearly perfectly round in shape, but as they grow bigger, they create more drag and ultimately the bottom begins to flatten out. With even larger drops, the bottom begins to balloon inward as it thins out until ultimately the water droplet breaks into several smaller drops. That typically happens around 5 millimeters. So the next time you're out in the rain and it's falling down around you, those big soaking drops, they've hit that magic size where they're big, but not too big to break apart.
Now a look back on this day in weather history. The year was 1984, October 17th. A snowstorm struck northern Utah, dumping a record 18 inches of snow on Salt Lake City in 24 hours. 40 inches was reported in nearby Alta Ski Resort. The storm was responsible for a 50-car pileup on Interstate 15. Well, we love showing you the country, and since we just mentioned Utah, let's head to the skies over Logan Canyon.
A very good Monday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. Taking a look at your weather story across the Midwest. We got some snow showers across portions of the upper Great Lakes. Could see a little bit of a rain-snow mix as we get closer down to the southern Great Lakes, where it's not quite as warm. Still a little bit of lake effect action for your Tuesday, but look at all the sunshine out across the plains. That will eventually continue to work its way in as we head into later this week, but it's going to be a bit of a chilly first half of the week. We warm up later in the week.
Good Monday morning. I'm meteorologist Joe DiCarlo with look at your forecast across the region. Cold front moving to the south. A much different day across the region. A lot of sunshine up towards Oklahoma City and Little Rock. We'll have high temperatures in the upper 50s to low 60s. A good amount of cloud cover across Texas and Louisiana, and some rain showers into far south Texas. Expecting those temperatures today in the 60s to low 70s. Overnight, cold to the north, 30s. Oklahoma City to Little Rock. Most of Texas staying in the 50s for overnight lows. Have a great day.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Rebecca Stevenson. Here's what's happening across the West. We had record high temperatures along the western side of the Rockies and the Cascades. Now we're seeing temperatures warm up to record territory for inland Pacific Northwest, while temperatures are dropping fast in parts of Arizona and New Mexico, where we've had flooding around an area of low pressure, bringing in a lot of flash flooding and heavy.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
They say the devil's in the details, in this case, the spinning leaves in the background of this video. Western New York had gusty winds between 40 and 45 miles per hour Saturday, and that got the fall leaves swirling. And check out this weekend scene. One of our meteorologists got out to explore the fall color in North Carolina, not too far from the Georgia line.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
It's time to highlight some of the content you send to our meteorologists and what we see on the Chime In platform that you can find on your station's website. This great shot was sent to one of our meteorologists who posted it on Instagram. It shows a rainbow over the mountains in beautiful Sedona, Arizona. And take a look at this stunning show of the Northern Lights over Helnar, Iceland. Iceland's one of the best places to see the Northern Lights, and that is a great example. And then we'll end here with some stunning fall foliage, although there's still some green around the area. DeSoto Falls really starting to show those colors. We'd love to share your weather content on air. Just find us at the National Weather Desk. Thanks for spending a small part of your morning with the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Veronica Johnson. Make it a great Monday and keep an eye on the sky.